By the end of this video, you will know how to place accents on ӓω verbs in New Testament Greek. Hi, Rob McIver here. Let's see how to place accents on ӓω verbs in 3 easy steps. The first thing we do is we write out the uncontracted form of the verb. And I thought we might use ἀγαπάω as our pattern verb and take the second person singular and the first person plural. And we write them out here, ἀγαπάεις and ἀγαπάωμεν. You will no doubt remember that an acute accent can go in the last 3 syllables of a word. Well, that is if the last syllable is short. If the last syllable is long, well, it can only go in the last 2 syllables. I have highlighted the fact that epsilon is short and epsilon iota is long, because we will need that. Now, there are rules specific to verbs, and the rule is this: the accent goes as far from the end of the word as is possible given the general rules for accents. So what does this mean for ἀγαπάεις and ἀγαπάωμεν? Well, the epsilon iota is long, so the acute accent can go only on the last 2 syllables, which means it goes on the alpha of ἀγαπάω. On the other hand, with ἀγαπάωμεν, the last syllable is short because epsilon is short. And so the accent goes on the ἀγαπάω again, the alpha, but this time because it's the 3rd syllable from the end. The next thing we do is we place the grave accent on all of the other vowels in the words. We just do this for working out where the accent goes. And then the 3rd step is we look at the join between the end of the verb stem and the ending, and we look at the pattern of accents that occurs there. If the accent goes acute-grave, it kind of forms a circumflex, and that indeed is the outcome. What we do is we contract the vowels according to the general rules for contraction for ӓω verbs, and then we place a circumflex on the result. So with ἀγαπάεις, it goes circumflex, grave. We place a circumflex accent on the results of combining an alpha with an epsilon iota. Well, the rule is alpha plus any E sound, like epsilon, just means alpha, but an iota becomes an iota subscript. And you can see that's the result. Alpha with an iota subscript and a circumflex accent. With ἀγαπάωμεν, on the other hand, we have a circumflex and a grave. Yes, a circumflex accent will be the result. When we contract alpha and an O sound, the result is an omega. So the end result is ἀγαπάωμεν. Well, you may ask me, Robert, when do we get the opposite? When do we get a grave followed by an acute? Well, not in any of the verb forms you probably know at this stage, but here is an example. We have ἀγαπάωμεν. Now, the eta is a long syllable, so the acute must go on the second to last syllable on the omicron. Placing graves on all of the other vowels gives you a grave followed by an acute. So this time, the result is we contract the vowels according to the rules for ӓω verbs and add an acute accent. So in this case, we have alpha with an O sound, that becomes an omega, and we place an acute accent on it for ἀγαπάωμεν. Well, what does this mean for the present indicative active of ἀγαπάω? I've written out the uncontracted form, I've added the acute accent according to the rules, and you'll notice they all occur on the alpha at the end of ἀγαπάω. Then I've added grave accents to all of the other vowels, and that's in the left column. In the middle column, I've noted where the verb ends and the ending begins and what the pattern is. And you can see it's alpha, omega, alpha, I, alpha omicron, alpha epsilon, and always this pattern. So they're all going to be circumflex accents, and then we contract them in the manner that @o verbs contract, and the outcome is, as it is, a set of circumflex accents. Well, you may ask me, Rob, why do we go to all that trouble if they're all going to be circumflex accents? I will remind you that there are cases where we have the pattern Grave-acute, and that results in acute accents. So there we have it. How to place a accent on an @o verb in 3 and a bit relatively easy steps. If you were looking for a way to practice writing accents on @o verbs, you may find this exercise in Chapter 10 of my book, Beginning New Testament Greek Made Easier. This video was part of a series of videos on various aspects of the Greek of the New Testament. You can most easily find these videos by subscribing to my YouTube channel, NT Greek Made Easier, or by following me on x.com at Rob McIver 2024. And hey, if you found this video helpful, why not let me know by clicking on the like button below or by clicking on the heart icon. Thank you.